This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. COVID-19 forced the closure of at least 2 Clarendon schools. At least 2 schools in Clarendon had to be closed this week for deep cleaning due to COVID-19. Similar action is pending for a 3rd school. The disclosure was made by medical officer for the parish, Dr. Kimberly Scarlett Campbell, during her presentation at the meeting of the Clarendon Interagency Network on Wednesday evening. Scarlett Campbell informed that in the past 2 weeks, a lot of schools have been affected by COVID-19. We closed the 2 schools this week. There was a school where you have at least 6 teachers who were positive in one community, and there is another school up north where they went on a trip and there were teachers from different locations in Clarendon who went on the trip, and the persons were coming down with symptoms, so we had to close another school in northern Clarendon, she stated. She noted that the teachers are now under quarantine and isolation. She told the meeting that she was informed on Wednesday of a situation at another school in the parish where about 30 persons complained about symptoms. The numbers have started to go up at the Maypen Hospital already. We are doing a lot of investigations in the schools, and we have had to close 2 already, and we will see how it goes at that location. We should be going into the 3rd location by Thursday to Friday, she shared. She used the opportunity to urge persons to get vaccinated. She indicated that up to Wednesday, there were 32 active cases in the parish, with infections being confirmed in communities such as Palmer's Cross, Portland Cottage, and Trout Hall. Further, there are 7 cases in hospitals, 4 confirmed and 3 suspected. Police Federation Chairman hospitalized. Chairman of the Jamaica Police Federation, Corporal Rohan James, has been hospitalized. The news was informed that James fell ill while at the conference of the Caribbean Federation of Police Welfare Associations today. Our news team was informed that he is being treated at a hospital in Western Jamaica. The nature of his illness and his condition in hospital are not known. A message asking for prayers has been shared with rank-and-file members of the constabulary force who are represented by the Federation. District Constable charged with assault of woman in Westmoreland. Police District Constable Kemarlo Woodstock has been charged in relation to an assault on a woman in Westmoreland. Woodstock was taken to court on Tuesday by way of summons to answer to a charge of assault occasioning actual bodily harm. The charge was as a result of the investigation and recommendation by the Indicom Commission of Investigations and the ruling by the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions. The alleged assault happened at a house in Negril, Westmoreland in March 2020. The woman was treated at the Savannah Lamar Hospital for injuries sustained. Woodstock was bound over by the Westmoreland Parish Court. The next court date is set for May 24. JDF undertaking search and rescue for men missing at sea in St. Ann. The Jamaica Defense Force is reporting that a search and rescue operation continues in St. Ann for 2 men at sea. The men, identified as Jerome and John, went fishing on Friday, May 6 aboard the vessel Isabella. When they did not return home, the boat's owner, Greg Samuels, made a report to the JDF on Monday. The report was made after all his attempts to communicate with the vessel proved futile. The Isabella is said to be white and black, 28 feet in length, and has a 250 HP Yamaha 4-stroke engine. The JDF says it has dispatched vessels and aircraft to conduct a search. However, neither the boat nor the men have been recovered. The search continues. The JDF is advising all vessels transiting the north coast of Jamaica to be on the lookout for the boat, render assistance where possible, and report any sighting of the vessel or crew to the Coast Guard. To make a report, call 876-322-6602 or 876-322-6599 or the JDF tip line at 876-837-8888. Opposition calls for urgent meeting to restore air services. Opposition spokesperson on transport Michael Phillips is calling for the government to immediately convene a conciliatory meeting with air traffic controllers who have taken industrial action. Phillips says the government needs to move to ensure a quick return to normality, as flights for tourists and Jamaicans are already affected, leaving people stranded in airports and hotels in Jamaica and globally. He is urging that the industrial action and the resulting disruption of Jamaica's air services were preventable had the government acted on several warnings over the past week and had taken the necessary actions. Consequently, the Ministry of Finance and Transport must take full responsibility for the closure of the island's airspace and the massive economic and security fallout which will inevitably occur, said Phillips in a statement. The opposition spokesperson said there had been loud rumblings and there was enough time to hear and settle the issues of concern to the air traffic controllers. He said while the government forges ahead with its compensation reforms, it is becoming increasingly evident that at all levels of the public sector, workers have either not been adequately consulted or are simply being left in the dark. Prime Minister urges public sector workers to be reasonable. Prime Minister Andrew Holness is urging public sector workers and their unions to be reasonable in how they press their case for adjustments in wages and salaries. Holness is charging that there is no reason for workers to take actions that would dislocate the state and the country's growth. It is not logical, it doesn't make sense for us to kick over our own pail of milk. I urge reason, he said while speaking this morning at the installation of Ian Forbes as Custos of St. Andrew. We have gotten this far because we have managed the finances of the country so well that the average Jamaican does not have to contemplate taxation. We are now at a point where we can start to address our remuneration and labor issues. Public sector workers have expressed their frustration with the government over outstanding wage issues. They are also opposed to the government's new compensation review. Upset workers at the National Water Commission were off the job all day on Tuesday and most of Wednesday, causing thousands of customers, including essential services, to be left without water. Today, air traffic controllers have downed tools over protracted salary issues. And the 30,000 government workers represented by the Jamaica Civil Service Association have agreed to put the government on notice that strike action by them over wage reforms is imminent. Holness emphasized that the change to compensation in the civil service is necessary to make it more efficient, noting that the exercise is not intended to make any worker worse off. He argued that the stance taken by the workers and their unions is not the right approach. I urge our partners in the unions, in the public service, there is no secret reserve of resources, that if the plane stops flying, tourists stop coming, our hospitals are shut down, and our schools stop teaching, that's somewhere we can go and take it up and present it. It is your work that keeps the planes coming in, it is your work that keeps the water flowing, it is your work that keeps the students in schools, that grows the economy, that gives the revenues, which we are now discussing how those revenues should be shared. Make the connection. And I am talking now to all Jamaicans. Let us just work as one country with one vision instead of ripping our society apart unnecessarily, said Holness. While noting that changes in the public service have historically, when continuous, Holness appealed to stakeholders to utilize established mechanisms to seek to have issues resolved. He stressed that the government remains committed to its partnership with stakeholders and continues to engage in negotiations. Man shot dead as he slept. Armed men fatally shot a businessman as he slept at his house in Retirement District in Little London, Westmoreland, Thursday morning. Dead is 59-year-old Kenroy Parkinson. Reports from the Little London police are that about 6 a.m., Parkinson's son went outside the house and was accosted by two men armed with handguns. The men took the child into the house and fired several shots, hitting the sleeping Parkinson. They stole a TV before escaping in a white Toyota Axio motor car that was waiting in the yard. The police were alerted and arrived to find Parkinson in a pool of blood. The scene was processed and his body removed to the morgue. Investigations are ongoing. 4 Jamaicans jailed for roles in U.S. $300,000 lottery scam. 4 Jamaicans were on Wednesday sentenced to between 2 and 5 years in the United States federal prison for their role in an international lottery telemarketing scheme which milked at least 67 victims, mainly elderly Americans, of more than $300,000. Those convicted are 30-year-old Fabian Gray alias Mike Taylor, Romaine Gordon, 30, Avia Reed, 30, and Khalil Powell, 20, all of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. According to a release from the United States Office for the District of South Carolina, Gray and Gordon were each sentenced to 63 months, while Reed was sent to jail for 51 months. Powell, however, received a lesser sentence of 33 months in federal prison. The release said Homeland Security investigations and the United States Postal Inspection Service led a probe into the individuals residing in the Myrtle Beach area who were operating a lottery telemarketing scam with domestic and international connections. According to evidence presented to the court, as part of the scam, the defendants would contact elderly victims via phone and mail and falsely informed the victims they had won a sweepstakes. The Jamaicans told the victims they had to pay taxes and fees in order to receive their winnings. Of the approximately 67 victims, the U.S. Attorney's Office said 25 of them were more than 80 years old, and several victims were targeted multiple times. In total, the culprits received more than $300,000 from their victims. The funds were ultimately withdrawn by or transferred to conspirators in Jamaica, and the defendants retained a 25% cut of the proceeds, the statement read. In addition to their federal prison terms, the Jamaicans were each sentenced to 3 years of court-ordered supervision in the event they were not deported upon release. They were also ordered to pay US $349,433.75 in restitution to their victims. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.